Hello, it's good to have you join us again. This is Close Flow coming to you from NTA2 Lagos Network Center. Delight always to be sure that you are waiting again to meet yet another distinguished Nigerian that we are going to bring onto this show so that we can actually engage with this Nigerian on the story of how Nigeria can become one of the best nations on the face of the earth. Well, the narrative about Nigeria continues every day, and the challenges, well, they seem so humongous, but we know that the same challenges actually are confronting so many other nations all over the world. So the global impact of how Nigeria is emerging to become the greatest nations on earth, one of the greatest nations on earth, or how Nigeria as the emerging economic power on the African continent, or how Nigeria is actually the giant of Africa if you know what is happening in the economic hub of Nigeria, which is Lagos State. Now we know that Lagos itself is now become the go-to when it comes to economic activities, when it comes to social engagement, when it comes to human interaction, when it comes to tourism. Lagos or Lagos State has now become the go-to destination. In Africa, yes. In part of the world, yes. Maybe in the developing nations, yes. So if Lagos is attracting regularly such huge traffic of visitors, persons, personalities, activities, social engagement, social interactions, and every other thing that you can think of under the sun, that means that Lagos has now become the nexus of what it is that is going to be defining the import and the impact that Nigeria we have on the rest of the world. So we are back in the studio, and Close Flow is now looking at how some aspects of the activities going on in Lagos, or some of the events happening in Lagos, or some of the incidences happening in Lagos, how these may impact on the life of Lagosians and visitors, and of course, well, if you like, development people. So we have in the studio, well, a young Nigerian, a determined, passionate young Nigerian who is going to be speaking to us about a critical element in nation building. When we come back, you get to meet that young person, but that critical element actually will be telling us about how to manage emergencies. Now, when you hear that, many of you, I'm sure you're going to probably write and sit at the top of your table or top of your seat, because emergencies in Lagos will be like an everyday occurrence, an everyday event. So we are going to be looking at, we are going to be, as it were, examining how Lagos State is responding to emergencies in this location that is populated by nearly 30 million persons. Stay with us, get to meet our guest, and then you get to meet the theme or the topic of our conversation.
Back to Lagos now, where Hindino has an excessive report. Hello, Hindino.
In Lagos, state houses of assembly have charged the federal government to direct relevant agencies to ensure
Thank you for staying with us. In the studio, we have, well, a chemist by training, by academic, training, a chemist. But right now, this young man is actually who I will call the deputy or the representative of the permanent secretary to the ministry that is the Emergency Management Unit agency here in Lagos. My pleasure to welcome Bisiriyu Kabiru to Close Flow.
Thank you very much. My name is Bisiriyu Kabiru Olawale.
Yes.
I am here to represent the permanent secretary, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency.
Yes.
LASEMA.
Yes.
Dr. Olufemi Oke Osoyintolu.
Yes. Great. So now Dr. Osoyintolu has loaded you, he has now crowned you to come and speak on his behalf. Do you have the same kind of passion that he has about emergencies and how we respond to emergencies?
Yes, when you talk about passion,
Yes.
it's contagious. And when you look at leaders that are very conscious of their mentees, the way they impact knowledge, actions, and ability to deliver, it is entrenched in that our permanent secretary, Dr. Olufemi Oke Osoyintolu. And we are many like that in the agency.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Now, in giving accolade to him for passing on, for giving you the responsibility, how do we now look at you and how you respond to emergencies in a busy, it's a constantly busy state like Lagos? How do we prepare ourselves?
Let's start this way.
Yes.
Lagos is a cosmopolitan city.
Yes.
Emergencies and disasters is an integral part of the environment.
Yes.
It must happen, either minor,
Or major.
medium, or severe.
Yes.
And proactive governments must establish emergency management hands that will be able to manage these emergencies daily, monthly, and yearly, over and over.
Yes.
That is why the Lagos State government in 2007 brought about the establishment of LASEMA.
Okay.
February 2007.
Yes.
But the law passing it, making it very legal, was passed by the Lagos State House of Assembly on 22nd July 2008. Since then, LASEMA has swung into action, dealing with so many emergencies,
Yes.
managing so many emergencies that occur in Lagos State. And our leaders now thought of the fact that emergency operations cannot be managed by just one subset in Alausa. You have to spread out across Lagos State. And that is why, as we are speaking today,
Yes.
we have 7 centers across Lagos State. We have in the Command and Control Center,
That is at Alausa.
Alausa, where
Yes.
the headquarters is.
Yes.
We have at Ekpe, that will cover that axis.
Okay.
We have at Admiralty Way, Lekki,
Wow.
that's making
Yes,
3. We
yes.
have at Kappa. We have at Onipanu. We have at Igondo. And we have at Agbowa. So we are evenly spread out because Lagos is always busy. It's a 24-hour city.
Yes.
And we run 24 hours. The fact that we're in the public service does not mean you have to close by 4 or 5. LASEMA runs 24 hours, managing different types of emergencies. And the emergencies...
No, wait, because I know you want to speak like the permanent secretary right now. See, for all our viewers, you are going to send your questions to him later on, but you can see the passion. It is true, he has told you that what his permanent secretary gives to him is contagious. It's very infectious. The passion is already showing. But now, the important thing is, yes, you want to give us a breakdown of the emergencies that you deal with.
Yeah. We have different types of emergencies.
Yes.
LASEMA has been handling over the years successfully. And we don't do it alone. We don't work alone. These emergencies are road traffic crashes in collaboration with Federal Road Safety Commission,
Okay.
Federal Road Safety Corps,
Yes.
and LASEMA, and the police. In
We
ensuring
collaborate
that
with them.
we collaborate.
Once the emergencies happen.
LASEMA cherish collaboration a lot, and you will see that in what I'm saying. I won't be mentioning only LASEMA. I'll be mentioning our stakeholders, primary, secondary, tertiary, up to the community level.
Great.
That's what makes LASEMA tick. We respond to fire service, fire incidents
Incidences, yes.
with collaboration with fire service, Lagos State Fire Service, Federal Fire Service. On a high magnitude, we call in even the private sector. UBA, the firearm of the UBA.
Yes.
Manufacturer Association of Nigeria. MPA. We all come together to combat the fire, just for the fire to be extinguished.
Are you saying this in reference to what happened in Lagos recently at the market that got burnt
Yes,
overnight?
that played out also.
Yes.
There, because in that market fire, over 140 tanks of water was used in that. So
140.
140. That as at that big magnitude, we just need to call in the stakeholders to make sure that fire is extinguished and will not spread beyond
That's
the
that location.
damage,
Yes.
beyond the damage zone.
Okay.
Aside fire outbreaks, we respond to flooding in collaboration with NIWA, police, neighborhood watch for intelligence gathering, then pipeline vandalization in collaboration with Nigeria Civil Defense Corps,
Yes.
NSCDC, and train accidents in collaboration with Nigeria Railway Corporation
Yes.
and Lamata. Just like it's over a year now that
we
there was
had
a
that
train
incident.
collision
Yes.
with the bus
Yes.
at PWD.
Yes.
So LASEMA, we cherish collaboration a lot, and building collapse in collaboration with Lagos State Building
Yes.
Control Agency.
Okay,
These
great.
are a few.
Agencies that you want to cite as your collaborators. Okay. Now, one thing is this: you said emergencies may not be unavoidable,
Yes.
but it can be prevented. Can it be prevented? Are we not? Are we? What do we need to do as Nigerians? How do we prepare ourselves? How do we help ourselves to prevent some man-made emergencies from happening?
Emergencies happen, and it can also be prevented.
Yes.
We will now be talking about mitigation factors, mitigation measures, either by the government
Or
by the people,
a combination of both.
or a combination of both. On the government side, the Lagos State government, the present administration, has tried a lot. Let's take, for example, when you look at the red line
Yes.
from Marina to Agbado,
Yes.
and you look at high volume areas with movement of people, the Sanwo-Olu government has either erected pedestrian bridges through Lamata or crossover bridges
Yes.
also through Lamata.
Yes.
So that the interaction of vehicles and the train will be minimized. That is mitigation measure on part structural, on part of the government.
Yes.
Now for the people, it is advised, because we have been educated by Lamata, that these trains will come at very fast speed.
Yes.
Do not cross the rail lines. Use the pedestrian bridges provided and listen to the railway officials'
Yes.
alerts
Yes.
on site.
Okay, all right. We must commend them again, Lagos State government for that. But something again that we all know we can get to work on will be the human element, the human factor.
Yeah.
Now, you have said again just now, so the community must also be involved.
Yes, yes.
So you have pedestrian bridges, but you see people still crossing road when you have pedestrian bridges. So what is that now, Bisiriyu?
We human beings need to be continually sensitized.
I like that.
They need to be
and that's what you're doing
continually,
here now.
yes, they need to be continually educated. That you spend little time and energy mitigating against an accident by the structures provided by the government. Using the structures provided by the government. Look at Ojudubega, for instance.
For instance.
That long bridge, before it was built by the Lagos State government, people, they'll cause a lot of traffic jam that will stretch through Otedola,
Yes. Yes.
beyond Connoy
Yes.
to 7 Up.
Yes.
You know, people do get knocked down in those days. But with the construction of that pedestrian bridge and that one, the one at Ministry of Environment,
Yes.
linking Magodo Phase
Yes.
2 on
Yes.
the other side.
Yes.
The
That's close to Hausa.
incidence of hit and run accidents due to pedestrians crossing the road has reduced
Yeah.
drastically.
Yeah.
So we need to continue educating our people that you can save your life, you can be useful to your people by using these structures and totally eliminating accidents there. I witnessed one firsthand before the construction of that pedestrian. That's why I appreciate so much. It was closing time, and we're just observing the environment. This elderly woman was to cross along with some young people. You know, she could not run as fast as the others, and this trailer was coming. She fell on the road. If not for the experience of that trailer driver that maneuvered, then it went on his own. We had to run and carry that woman that day. She was just crying, and she was thanking God.
To her?
She fell on the road, and the trailer managed to pass by her,
yes,
while other vehicles stopped.
Waited.
When they saw the movement of that trailer. So when we took her to the other side, she was just crying. Our pulse was still on the road. He said, "Mama, your pulse," they should leave the pulse. Oh. They should leave the pulse. She thanks God. But now that the structure is there,
that does not happen anymore.
That will not happen. So we thank the government, Lagos State government, for all these mitigating structures and factors. Still on the people.
Okay. Exactly.
Still on the people.
Yes.
The rain has come. The rain has come. The government, through the Ministry of Environment and Water Resources, has created channels. They have connected drainage channels from primary to secondary to tertiary into the lagoon. We should not block the drainages with our refuse. Let us give these debts and pack it and give it to Loma.
Yes.
They will evacuate promptly. When you block drainages and water, you don't allow the water to flow into a secondary channel, tertiary, and into the lagoon, it will go back into the streets. And it go back to, look at what happened yesterday.
Yes.
Nimet has tried. They have given us
a lot.
The early warning signals.
Yes.
Early warning system has been put in place, and they were right. They said the rain will come with a lot of
flooding,
wind.
Yes. That
the wind will be massive, and it actually played out yesterday. It took out so many poles.
Electric poles, yes. Street electric poles.
I learned that of Ojore.
Yes.
In Songwater.
Yes.
It took also many roofs across Lagos State, Igberigbe, Alimosho.
Yes.
And so, in preparing for these winds and rains, our people should, put a little energy and time to brace up their
preparedness.
The preparedness. If the roofs need to be tacked,
please go ahead and do it.
Engage and target so that you minimize loss and the impact of that. Then, when the rain is falling, be mindful of where you're standing if you're outside, not by the pole side, electric poles, or street lights, or any form of pole, and long trees. And I'm sure the Lagos State Parks and Garden has been going round to trim necessary trees that may cause damages. As you can see, LASEMA is not acting alone. We are constantly partnering with all Lagos State MDAs, both in local government, the state, and the federal, and even humanitarian actors in the field of emergency management.
Thank you for that, for letting us know that we all need to be engaged in the safety that we are looking at, making sure that we implement during emergencies. Let me quickly give our viewers the numbers to reach us so that all of you can actually face our distinguished guest, because he has explained to us how important it is that we prepare ourselves to deal with emergencies. Bisiriyu is very passionate, is very committed, like his permanent secretary who is representing here today. The number for you to call us, 080-3589-4722. 080-3589-4722. Let me talk that again for the third time, but now slowly so that all of us can get it right. 080-3589-4722. Let Bisiriyu hear from you on what you think on what we need to do when we are dealing with all these risk factors. Now, let's come back again to the threat element. Now, Bisiriyu, we have spoken about emergencies happening.
Yes.
But how do we train the people? You are trained.
Yes.
You are working with an agency that is saddled with the responsibility of managing emergencies. But how about the citizens? How are they going to be trained? How are they going to be properly educated and oriented to make sure they deal with these emergencies at the community level?
Thank you. On that case, I would like to implore the local government areas and local council development areas. We have local emergency management committees established in the 57. Please swing into action. Have town halls with your community members. We cherish Lagosians a lot, and we want to minimize the impacts of disasters and emergencies on the lives of the people. Educate them on the prevention of fire outbreaks, prevention of impacts of flooding, especially the flood-prone areas, home accidents. If need be, call in the experts. And this take-home by the people will be established in the community. It will have a multiplier effect. If parents come to a town hall meeting,
Yes.
and
learn,
cascade, and cascade this to the children. Yes, there was a case of a family friend. The gas was pulled out.
At home.
Instead of the children handling it, they ran out. They cried for the first thing at the notice of an emergency is to cry out. And that's why the government has the toll-free numbers,
Yes.
767 and 112. We call it call,
Yes.
but it's a cry out. This is happening in so places.
Yes.
And
Please, can you say the number again for our viewers?
It's a toll-free. We have 2 toll-free lines, 767 or 112. You can call from any network, even if there's no credit on that phone.
It will go.
It will go. It will connect. Call for any type of emergencies. This is coordinated in the headquarters of LASEMA. We call it the Command and Control Center.
Yes.
Where we have the call center, we have call agents that will receive your calls, and we have an emergency operations center that will dissect what you have done and activate the necessary team that will go, even if it is. Let me inform Lagosians that in that command and control center, we have those that deal with domestic violence and abuse from the Ministry of Justice.
Also, that's good.
You're
adding that to us, yes.
We have police there in case of any security issue. If you see something, say something, raise alarm. The lines
can we
are
have the
free.
number again?
767 or 112. It will be dealt with confidentially and professionally.
I love that. I love. So for all our viewers, you can hear from Bisiriyu is affirming and declaring your issues, if it's a home issue, a domestic issue, will be dealt with confidentially. So don't be worried and don't be worried. That's number one. Number two, don't say I don't have credit on my phone. Can you repeat that again, please?
If there is no credit on that phone, the emergency call will go through to the call center at the command and control center in Alausa. The toll-free lines are 767 or 112. Either of the two, you are good to go.
Beautiful. Now, again, I'm getting so much confidence. Maybe I will soon join. I will change my uniform and become an emergency responder. Now, Bisiriyu, thank you so much for that. But now, please, let's escalate it a bit. Now, we have already, in our intro, we have identified the fact that Lagos State is an urban center, it's a metropolis. There's no way we are not going to have influx. So, are you not scared that once it's approaching seasonal celebrations like Christmas, like Ileya, like, are you not scared of emergencies which may occur just because of the number of persons, staying or coming or traveling or, present in Lagos?
Yes, thank you. The Permanent Secretary, LASEMA, Dr. Olufemi Damilola Oke Osonitolu, has told us, you are an emergency respondent. Do not be afraid. So we are not scared. We can only conscientize our people. We can educate our people. We can do disaster risk reduction by enlightening our people.
I like that. Say that again. Disaster risk.
We can engage in activities of disaster risk reduction by educating our people. That even as the Yuletide approaches, there may be targets to be met. There may be worries. We mean you need to run up and down faster than you have been. Calm down, and your goals will be achieved. It is better to be calm, achieve, either lately or on time, than to be late to rest.
Okay, all right. The number again, please. We are waiting for our viewers to join us because this conversation is about you. We are dealing with, let me borrow from Bisiriyu. Risk reduction.
Disaster risk reduction.
So, if you want to avoid or to ameliorate any disaster that is approaching, you need to be a part of this conversation. The number is again 080-3589-4722. 080-3589-4722. Let's have you join. Okay, now let's see again some of the things. Some of the things you have mentioned here seem to have formed a cycle. Yeah. It's like a continuous cycle of a process that you must. Now, so who defines this cycle? Is it defined by the emergency, or do you already have a structured, response level that will now actually follow this cycle of what we need to do?
Disaster management has 4 stages. In some cases, 5 stages. Is indeed in a cycle. But of importance is for you as an emergency responder to know that disaster will happen. Emergency must occur. And I've told you that in 3 categories, either mild,
yes,
medium, or severe.
Yes.
You must be prepared. Preparedness.
No matter what level. No matter what level. Whether it is mild, whether it is medium,
you must be prepared. Then when you prepare, you mitigate for it not to happen or escalate beyond measures. Then you respond if it happens. After response, then you recover to return back to normalcy.
Someone has to plan how to return to normalcy.
You have to plan it, because when it happens, you don't just have to start raising alarms, crying, what do we do? How do we do this? That was what played out during the Ikeja bomb blast.
Yes, those years ago. Yes.
Those years. That happened before LASEMA
was founded. Yes.
So this preparedness was not, if you have that passion, you have to worry on your own that what if this happens to a Lagosian? What do we do? You write it down, you plan, you present it, and as an agency, we would like to appreciate the Executive Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Governor, Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu. He has taken ownership of the activities of LASEMA, and that is why LASEMA has keyed into his Teams agenda. It's now Teams Plus.
Yes. It's no longer Teams Plus.
Teams Plus.
Yes.
On traffic management.
Yes.
Traffic management and transportation, if there's any breakdown or road traffic crashes, so moving with all our stakeholders that I mentioned earlier, we clear it, and I told you work 24 hours, yes, so that Lagosians can continue
their lives,
their business. In that wise, we contribute to the resilience of the community. When you go to the health and education,
yes,
we provide ambulance services. Let me give you an instance. There was a time one woman, she went to, it happened around Onipanu. She went to the market to purchase okra.
Food items.
To sell. But she was heavily pregnant. On getting to Onipanu bus stop, labor pains developed.
Wow.
And she could not move. They just came. We have a dispatch center at Onipanu.
Yes.
Residents of that place came, LASEMA, emergency, emergency. We all ran out. We activated the ambulance service. We moved in. The head of the baby was already coming out.
Wow.
So, like I told you, we don't work alone. The market women there, the community women became our stakeholders. They rallied round. They formed a wall around the woman.
Your medical team.
We provided a makeshift, and the baby was delivered.
Right there on the road?
Right there at the bus stop. And we didn't end there. I instructed the team, standing on the toga of the permanent secretary, that you take this baby and the mother to Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, Ikeja. Gladly, last suit, they also are stakeholders. When they saw the ambulance, LASEMA, what happened? We have a newborn baby. They took care of her. They took care of the baby. They're in good condition. They called me. Oga, what do we do? Stay with them. When they finish, take them home. Since it's not the first child.
Yes.
So, when they finished at the hospital, we took the baby and the mother home. And the husband was very happy. I was glad myself. And I named that baby Favor.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
For that baby.
So,
another congratulations will come. First, Toby from Abeokuta. Toby says, concerning the pedestrian bridge, how can the utilization of the bridges be enforced on Lagosians? Please, quickly. Toby, don't say thank you to Toby.
Thank you, Toby, calling all the way from Abeokuta.
Yes.
Thank you. LASEMA, we appreciate the fact that as Lagosians, we are not standing alone. Neighbors in Ogun State are very, very important to us. We also move operations even beyond Kara at times.
Yeah.
And Songo toll gate.
Yes.
So the pedestrian, the use of the pedestrian bridge can be enforced through KAI, and they are doing that sincerely. I must be sincere with you.
Yes.
They have been doing that recently because it's very, very important. They are carrying out the enforcement, but our people need to know also that the use of the pedestrian bridge may require just a little energy and a difference of maybe 1 minute, 3 seconds than crossing the road. Because if you want to even cross the expressway, you have to wait for the vehicles to because we responded to one accident, I think, was it 3 years ago? Forgive me if I've forgotten the date,
yes,
but I can still remember this accident because the permanent secretary has told us we should be mindful of the way we react to emergencies. But when some happen, let me tell you what happened. They didn't use the pedestrian bridge, and it was around 11 p.m. at Pangrove. They finished selling the mother, the child, and the grandchild. They were to go home. A vehicle on a high speed knocked down the grandchild and the daughter of that woman. It's only the woman that survived. So our daughter and the grandchild were gone. So I had to tell the team, please hold on this woman, so that because she was already calling on her daughter, stand up, go and bring your daughter, stand up. She was already in another realm. So this is an experience to tell you the importance of using the pedestrian bridge.
Thank you very much. We are not going anywhere. We will just take a little break. We'll take a break so that all of you, wherever you are, may we quickly invite our diasporans to also contribute to this conversation by asking Bisiriyu, from their own perspective, how emergencies can also be properly managed in Nigeria. Stay with us. We're back shortly.
Back to Lagos now, where Hingino has an executive report. Hello, Hingino.
In Lagos, state houses of assembly have charged the federal government to direct relevant agencies to ensure
All right, thank you. We'll stay close flow from NTA2 Lagos Network Center. And our delight is that, well, many Nigerians love to watch this show because of the the candid opinions which are often expressed by our distinguished guests. Well, we will try to do that all the time to make sure our guests are very comfortable, sharing with all Nigerians their own perspectives and, of course, their expertise in what you're dealing with. So today we're looking at emergencies, and then we're looking at responses and all that and all that. I want to thank all those who have actually been sending questions and queries so that Bisiriyu can deal with that. Now I have Faith. Faith is from Ikorodu, and Faith is saying, what measures are being put in place by the government to prevent such incidents that happened on the 3rd Mainland Bridge recently? 3rd Mainland Bridge recently, when the bus actually, yes, you remember that story?
Yes.
So
yes.
Faith from Ikorodu, what measures?
Yes, thank you, Faith from Ikorodu, for that concern. We must thank the federal government for the repairs, reconstruction of that 3rd Mainland Bridge. Prior to that, there were several complaints, potholes. Is an express way, is a bridge that links the mainland to the island. And when people are on top speed, those potholes, those sway vehicles off their tracks and cause a lot of accidents in those days. But the present administration thought it right to reconstruct and put it in good shape. Not just good shape. So the engineers and road experts that have been there, they say it's first class. So we can't blame the government for reconstruction of infrastructures. All we can do is to talk to our people. The government, both at the federal and the state level, have said maintain a minimum of 80 kilometers per hour. Let us check our speed. I said it earlier, it's better that we crawl and get there than we'll be late to rest. So let us all be mindful of our speed as soon as we get to 3rd Mainland Bridge or wherever. Even as the rain is coming,
yes,
we should be mindful of our speed. This 80 kilometers per hour is the max limit. Don't forget that they've advised. So if you do 60 and people are overtaking you, what's the crime? You will get your destination in no time. The most important thing is that the road is good, motorable, and okay.
Okay, all right. I hope that answers your question. The next person, Adegbenga Ganiyu from Ekpori in Surulere, he says, I want to appreciate this unit, especially this Mr. Bisiriyu Kabiru. He says, I've called them twice for accident emergency, one on Ekpori Bridge and the other at Odoyalaro, and their responses were prompt and professional. That's what Adegbenga Ganiyu.
Thank you, Mr. Adegbenga Ganiyu. The Permanent Secretary, LASEMA, Dr. Olufemi Damilola Oke Osoyintolu, has really conscientized all the response teams. Manage a golden hour. If I'm not there, you are representing Lagosians, and when the call comes, you must respond swiftly. So we stand on that instruction and that sense of responsibility that when we get any emergency calls, we are ready to move, to act and deal swiftly, efficiently, and effectively. And that is what played out when we got those two calls. Thank you so much for the appreciation.
All right, okay, so appreciation, kudos to you again. Maybe I should no, I cannot doff my hat. Okay, all right. Now, this response phase that we are dealing with here now, that people are referring to, they are suggesting. Now, how do you, it's a reaction. You have said that the permanent secretary, for instance, has warned you. So always be prepared when you hear the call
Distress calls.
Yes, distress calls. So psychologically, how do you therefore do that? How do you help yourself, both as a team, as individuals, to get to that phase?
Our duty is humanitarian. Any call is a call to duty. You are employed to render services to Lagosians, and when you get there, when you get the distress calls, you must act accordingly. Let me give you an instance. 3 people went to celebrate birthday, and they were returning home. Sometimes last year, getting to Ojuelegba, a 40-feet container fell on the vehicle. So
from nowhere.
You know, it's a 2-lane.
Yes.
So the container, due to recklessness,
yes,
fell on the vehicle. When you got that call, people are trapped. You will be thinking, dead or alive? I pray they are alive. So at that point, what do? You have to, the adrenaline will just pour in. Let me get them alive. Team, let's go. And that's the driving force. This incident, luckily, we alerted Kappa, the hub of our heavy duty equipment.
Yes.
It moved in our heavy duty forklift, nicknamed Goliath, which got there in no time. When we raised this vehicle, luckily, the 3 of them were alive.
Wow.
I still have the video, I have the pictures. And we're thankful that we have saved life. That is what ruminates. That is what rings. That is what vibrates. Let us go and save the people.
I like that again. But another emergency, Bisiriyu, that also you may need to speak to your team about. Let's look at what happened this rainfall again.
Okay.
The electric poles that fell. Some people are saying that the quality of the standard of those poles should be investigated.
Well, thank you very much. We need to call on the discourse,
yes,
to do the needful. And also, Standard Organization of Nigeria.
yes,
You know, some things happen to no fault of the people. Some emergencies happen to no fault of the people. An instance is we had a fire outbreak at Ikotun area,
yes,
Governor's Road.
yes.
They all went to church. It was a Sunday, and they came back. The whole place was gutted by fire. So, and that's another lesson for our people. When you are going out,
Make sure
your switchover is at neutral, because the power may be restored anytime. But to say the fact, it may be no fault of the people.
Okay, all right, we may agree to that, that could be a lapse from the agency involved, but as an emergency responder, what should be the key first aid tools or knowledge, that is a to-do list for families to be prepared for emergencies? Do we have any such thing? Do you have like a basic, this is your first aid response or preparation or whatever that you need, just in case there's fire incident, for instance? This is your to-do list. If there is a flood, this is your to-do list. Do we have that in LASEMA?
Thank you. We do educate our people. The first thing you will do is to observe. You cannot handle it alone. Cry out. Call your neighbors. Call the people. If there's a fire outbreak, run out. Don't say you can handle it alone. Call the people. People will put heads together. Then you call the toll-free lines 112 or 767. The necessary units will be activated immediately. Don't deal with emergencies alone. Take, for example, that Dosum.
Yes.
Though it's under investigation, the governor has commissioned an investigation and the enumeration is presently ongoing. How can a right-thinking person throw petrol from a 3-story building? It's not water. It's petrol that has been gutted by fire. You know,
Yes.
with that height
Yes.
and force,
Yes.
it's going to splash. And Dozomo is known for fabrics. It's like you are throwing ignited matches
Around.
everywhere. If you had called for help and people run up and the elders of that market say they'll not create a cordon. Anybody
yes.
that doesn't have any business there, don't move there. They just look for water and detergents. They can be pouring from afar.
Yes.
That is for small fire. I'm coming to electric fire.
Yes.
That you cannot apply in electric fires. Of course, the firefighters will educate you more on this.
What need to do, yes.
But that Dosumu, that should have just been,
Curtail it.
curtailed at that penthouse. At most, that place will be disorganized and they can reconstruct. Rather than, lack of knowledge, lack of orientation, do that kind of a thing in a market that is for fabrics. It's not for iron. It's not for metals. It's for fabrics. And fabrics majorly are petrochemicals.
Yes.
From high density polyethylene, low density polyethylene, they mix it together and all that.
Being a chemist, you should know that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So,
Right. Okay.
but 1 minute.
Yeah.
Well, for electric fires, don't pour water because the current will be transferred to the humans. What you need to do is to reach out to the mains and switch
off.
Switch to neutral. Don't say, when you are going out, switch to neutral. Leave the fridge. It's true. I attended a lecture. A man, one of the facilitators, very good in our field,
Yes.
said he lost his flat because he went out, the weather was hot, and he said, let me leave the AC.
Oh, to cool the apartment.
To cool, so that when he comes back,
yes.
he will relax in his school. The whole place was gone.
So he came back to nowhere.
The whole place was gone. And he said he has learned his lesson. Ever since he rebuilt, even if he's going out, he switch off.
Okay, so you have heard that again from the experts. Try and turn off when you are leaving the house. Now, Michael from Magodo, he says, in spite of the efforts of the government containing floods in the metropolis, some people still deliberately block the drainage. What is the government going to do about that?
Yes, thank you. The government of Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu is doing a lot through the Office of Drainage Services in the Ministry of Environment and Water Resources.
Yes.
You can get more education from them. They will enlighten you more, but I'm aware that they are doing a lot because people have encroached so much in some areas and they're trying to dislodge the encroachment so that when eventually the water comes, there will be pathway for the water to empty into his natural space. So we should cooperate with them. Some areas need enforcement. Some areas just need sensitization. Some areas have permanent structures. Imagine. Some areas have temporary structures that they can decommission, while some need to be, rooted out.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Again, just going back to that same question, and that's about recovery. So after the emergencies, after the disasters, so how do we now begin to train our people to recover and come to some semblance of stability?
The Lagos State government, through LASEMA, has camps, relief camps. If emergencies and disasters are overwhelming and people need temporary shelter. Please, local government chairman, local council development authority chairman, reach out for temporary shelter for your people. In those places, one is at Igodo, one is at Agbowa. In those places, stakeholders that in the humanitarian space, humanitarian action will also kickstart immediately. And they will be given succor, relief, and the trauma will be managed to calm down, and they will be resettled back to their environment and locations.
Okay, thank you again for that assurance. This is speaking like the permanent secretary of LASEMA. Now, Bukola from Lagos says, what is in place to control flooding in Lagos, especially on the island? Especially on the island, Lagos Island. Maybe Bukola is almost Aliko.
Yes, Bukola, thank you. From the island, you know, the nearness to water also contributes to, we call them pluvial flooding, the flash floods. You know, so the best that can happen is the authorities must study the drainage master plan of that island. Location. There must be no blockage because it's very close to the water. So any small blockage, the pluvial flood that is supposed to maybe last for a few minutes, will retain itself for hours. You know, that's why the people still need to be conscientized, to be educated, and enlightened. Any small blockage on the island
can become a disaster.
Can become a very serious issue. You can't compare that to Alimosho. Alimosho is upland, and despite that, despite that,
the flood.
Oki community, Aboru, Ayobo, Ikpaja, because they have to empty into the water body that is close to them, see experience. But the beautiful thing about that place is that they have expanse land and enough drainages for them to for the storm water, for the pluvial water to run off into the. So the most important thing for island, the drainage master plan. Then Lagos Island chairman, please educate our people not to block the drainages in whatever small way.
Okay, all right. So it's actually saying that there's a community web here. The people living in the community, the chairman of the community, all of them must be well educated on what we need to do to prevent that flooding. Okay, we have Olatunde Abdulaziz from Ayobo.
Okay.
You just mentioned Ayobo now. Olatunde Abdulaziz says, I want to appreciate Mr. Governor and the entire LASEMA team for their responses to emergency in Lagos. Then I also want to ask if their ambulance are manned by doctors on standby in very serious cases, or the victims have to be moved to nearby hospitals before being attended to.
Yes, Olatunde Abdulaziz. Thank you for that question. On the second pillar of the Teams Plus agenda of Mr. Governor, health and environment.
Yes.
We provide ambulance services, and our ambulance services are the head. Don't forget, the permanent secretary is a medical doctor. The permanent secretary, Dr. Olufemi Damilola Okesointolu, is a medical doctor.
Who even started the emergency, yes.
Yes. It was the end of Lasambos in those years.
Yes.
So, we don't joke with the ambulance services. All, apart from the permanent secretary, we also have a medical doctor that is with us, that is the head of the pre-hospital care. And we have trained paramedics. So, we provide first aid, stabilize the victims, give them necessary medical care to be alive. Then we move to the nearest government hospital. If it's burns, we move to Bagada. If it's fractures, head injuries, we move to trauma center or Gobi. So these are our partners, our stakeholders in that regard.
All right. Thank you very much again. Bisiriyu actually has taken over from the PS. Thank you so very much for coming on Close Flow. We must commend you for your attentiveness to our questions and the questions coming from our viewers, and of course your responses. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, for our viewers, we know the conversation is never over. We can safely say that we can share this conversation with all our friends, our families, so that we can all be prepared. Just like Bisiriyu says, it is our own, it is right in our court to be prepared for what emergencies will come, but you can be prepared once you're ready for it. So we can share with our friends and let them also go on to the social media platforms, hear from Bisiriyu, and raise more questions so that he can deal with some of your issues. Thank you for watching, and then until next week, it's bye from us.